Hello everyone. As part of a new initiative, I have decided to take some of my really long videos and break them down into their various segments after speaking with a friend about it. Of course, the original video that I clipped from will be in the description, and I of course would recommend checking it out. I would also like to note that sometimes in the clip segments, I will make references to things that were mentioned in a previous segment, which obviously won't be here, as I am only taking one raw segment at a time and re-uploading that. So if you do want the full context, again, please watch the original video. This segment talks about the various controversies surrounding Frieren during its Season 1 and Season 2 release. It does not cover the Lex video. If you want to see that, please look at my original video. Now that I've gotten these disclaimers out of the way, without further ado, play it.
The government knows. The government knows. The government knows.
Before we can properly talk about the Frieren discourse surrounding the demons though, it is important that we establish what the demons are in Frieren exactly, and all of the actions they have taken in both the anime and the manga before we can determine if Frieren's goal of killing all demons is unfounded, racist, fascist, alt-right talking points, since apparently online spurgs decided to relate demons to minorities. The demons in Frieren are essentially evolved descendants of man-eating monsters who learn to mimic human speech in order to lure unsuspecting humans in order to eat them. As time went on though, they obviously refined and evolved their approach until we have the modern-day demons in Frieren, which look similar to humans, bar the horns that they have. They live as long as elves, and also use a power-based hierarchy to rule derived from their mana level, although they each work towards refining one particular spell. On that note, they also consider mana to be very important to them, with attempts to hide it considered disgraceful and cowardly. Personality-wise, aside from being very prideful in their mana due to it being a status symbol like we have with money, their personalities are largely incompatible with other races, not just humans, due to their ability to deceive and kill others, as well as being antisocial, and while they do have emotions, they are unable to grasp certain emotions and concepts like empathy, guilt, or malice, especially in the case of mocked. This obviously ties back into the deceive and kill others part, like a demon crying out for its mother despite the fact that all demons are abandoned at birth, while it is holding a little girl hostage, or the fake peace envoy sent to destroy Graf Granite's city. By the way, I would like to remind everyone, they still commonly kill humans for sport or for eating, despite the fact that they no longer need to do so to survive, since they are now omnivores, removing the "they're only bad and eat humans for survival" argument. Ultimately though, I'm not really that surprised that demons still hunt and eat humans despite the fact that they no longer need to, especially considering the fact that they lack certain concepts or emotions such as empathy or guilt, are powerful in both physical and magical strength, and have origins from man-eating monsters. And it's no wonder why demons kill tons of people. They are or were biologically hardwired to eat human flesh and don't feel bad when they kill people. So in other words, fork found in kitchen. Moving on to the actions of the demons in Frieren though, one day, to make a long story short, they united together under the Demon King and then proceeded to wage war for over 1,000 years against all of the other sapient races. So nice to know that people are strangely defensive of the man-eating warmongers since they remind them of the blacks apparently. Moving on though, obviously after 1,000 years of this war, we know that Frieren partners up with Himmel, Heiter, and Eisen in order to kill the Demon King, which they successfully do, ending the 1,000-year war. But this victory did not come without devastating consequences. For starters, we know that it reduced humanity's sphere of influence down to 1/3, also implying that humanity's population was cut down to 1/3 of its original size also, and that they attempted to genocide the elves, destroying many elven villages, one of which Frieren was in, leaving her as the sole survivor there. While thankfully they weren't able to successfully carry out their genocide of the elves, the elven population was severely depleted in the current time frame of Frieren. So not only were the demons warmongers, they were also genocidal with the intended goal of wiping out the elven race. Now, I don't know about you guys, but something tells me that genocide is bad, okay? And is therefore considered evil, to put it lightly. Even in the first season of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, after the Demon King is defeated and we see her with Vernon Stark, we get to see more wonderful actions of how these demons act. There was of course Frieren's backstory and how she first met Flam, who rescued Frieren from her village as the sole survivor and defeated the pursuing demons who came back to finish the job, and then afterwards taught Frieren mana suppression. Of course we also can't forget Quoll and his Zoltrax spell, but there's also some other flashbacks we get. Primarily in a form of when Frieren is in Himmel's party and after defeating a group of demons in a village, they encounter a demon girl survivor who Frieren obviously wants to kill, especially after said demon has already killed a child. As Himmel moves to kill the demon, she calls out for her mom, despite the fact that they are solitary by nature and don't have parents, which gives Himmel pause. Then as Frieren prepares to kill the demon, the village chief intervenes and said he would like to raise the demon himself. Letting the village chief raise her with his family. While things seemingly work out in the beginning, in a completely shocking and unexpected turn of events, the demon child kills the chief, burns down his house. Apparently the demon did this because she felt their desire to kill her and she just wanted to live in peace. So she killed the village chief so that she could give his daughter to the family of the child she ate. And I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory as to why that doesn't work. And when the villagers are pissed at her, she holds his daughter captive. Only then are Frieren and Himmel able to actually kill the demon. The demon tries calling out for mom again, but that trick isn't gonna work twice. And when Frieren questions the demon on why she called out for a non-existent mother, despite the fact that demons are left to fend for themselves at birth, the demon replies with, "It's because people won't kill her if she does." Keep in mind the demon also used this excuse when Himmel was about to kill her for the first time. Yeah, absolutely crazy how people can think that demons are the bad guys. It's already insanely manipulative to appeal to a non-existent mother, quadruply so when you do it twice after first killing someone's daughter, and then attacking the village chief and holding his daughter hostage. For God's sake, the demon admits that they only say it so that people won't kill them. They obviously don't understand empathy, except for how to exploit it, which is a sign of sociopathy. In the same episode of that flashback, by the way, there is a bigger multi-episode plot where Frieren gets arrested in the city after trying to kill demons. Since they were actually there for a peace talk, which was led by a demon named Luger, on behalf of Aura the Guillotine. While Frieren explains while she's being arrested that demons only learn language to deceive humans, her concerns are brushed aside, and to make a long story short, she is sentenced for 2 to 3 years in jail. Luckily for Frieren, she was right on the money with her prediction when it was revealed that the Peace Envoy was nothing more than an attempt to get Graf Granite to get the city to lower its shields, so that Aura the Guillotine could come in with her army and destroy it. One of the Peace members, Drott, kills the guard watching Frieren and then tries to kill her, which backfires and allows her to escape. Then afterwards, when Granite questions the disappearance of Drott and Frieren and questions Lugner about the dead guard, he finds out that the peace talk was fake, which then causes Lugner to kill Granite's guards and then hold him captive and torture him to try and force him to release his shield over the city. Oh no guys, the demons are just really misunderstood creatures. They just wanted peace so bad while they had an army on standby to destroy a town. So they torture the only person who can lower the city shields after he finds out that the peace talks are a lie. This obviously is supposed to represent minorities somehow. The rest of the arc is just Frieren, Fern, and Stark rescuing Granite, and then they all fight a 1v1 with Frieren and Aurora, Fern versus Lugan, and Stark versus Linny, with Frieren's party winning their fights and resolving that arc. There are 2 additional interesting interactions though that should be noted with the demons aside from the obvious betrayal. The first is that when Frieren first addresses the demons, she refers to them as beasts, and later on, they actually agree with her assessment of them, meaning that the demons themselves believe that they are wild beasts, albeit smart magical powered ones. So I don't know why people get so mad at demons being, well, demonized, when they do it to themselves. The other interaction is when Granite and Lugner were talking, and Granite mentions how he keeps his son's room the same as it was when he died in the 28-year conflict between Aura and Granite City. And Lugner mentions that he did the same, despite later on admitting that he doesn't even know what a father is, which is the same manipulative sociopathic bullshit that the girl demon did in Frieren's flashback. Keep in mind, by the way, that all of this happens in the first season of the anime, aka the first 60 chapters of the manga. From this section alone, we know that demons waged a genocidal war against the elves and decimated the population of all the other sentient races for 1,000 years before Himmel's hero party. We also know that the demons wiped out Frieren's village, leaving her as the sole survivor, and if it wasn't for Flamme, she would have died. Even in current day, they continue to play humanity, such as having a Trojan horse guest peace talk in order to lead a false flag operation to lower city shields and have said city destroyed. So my ultimate question is, why continue to defend the demons? Even if the demons themselves aren't objectively evil, every action that the demons have taken in the show and manga was every action they have taken not only a plight against humanity, but all the other races in the world of Frieren. I also decided to read through the manga on completely legal manga sites on the off chance that there were moments where the demons were actually good, and what I found was very interesting. The first thing I saw, which was already put into the anime, was when Frieren and party hunt down the sword demon, where it's revealed that demons no longer need to eat humans to survive. Despite that, this demon elected to trick people into prayer and kill them when they close their eyes before eating them. Yeah, I can't see why a demon killing humans for sport is supposed to make me believe that demons aren't inherently evil when it's not even a matter of survival anymore, and they still choose to kill people. Keep in mind too that this demon's goal of retrieving a sword from a noble family has already been accomplished, so all those extra kills wandering the countryside were just for funsies, apparently. Frieren even spoke to the sword demon, and she didn't even pretend to feel bad about her actions. Not one bit. While it is true that some demons, such as Mott and the Demon King, did want peace, the core issue is that demons have no understanding of emotions like humans do, and their inherent nature as deceptive, emotionless man-eating predators who only learn language to hunt humans better get in the way of coexistence. They fundamentally do not understand concepts and emotions like evil, justice, guilt, morality, and malice, essentially making them sociopathic, especially when you consider that they only say words that will provide them with the best reaction for their present scenario, which is why any attempt to make peace with them ends in tragedy, as they end up killing people due to their lack of understanding of human emotions and their origins as man-eating monsters, and then somehow still act surprised when people universally loathe and avoid them. The Demon King wanted coexistence, and that led him to wage a 1,000-year war against all the other races that killed 2/3 of humanity and almost genocided the elves. Mott turned entire towns into gold and made children fight to the death in order to try and discover what malice and guilt is. So even in best case scenario, if a demon does truly want peace and coexistence, the fact that they can't understand certain human emotions and concepts, are magically and physically strong, and are descendants of man-eating monsters means that one day, even the most peaceful of demons will have an errant thought that putting 1,000 humans into a meat grinder will help with peace and then proceed to act on that on a whim, not understanding why that is a bad thing. It's like someone saying that they want to be friends with you while mag dumping an AA-12 into your chest. I mean, sure, they say that they want to be friends, and they might even believe it, but their actions tell a whole different story. TLDR is that due to demons not actually understanding humans, even if they truly want peace, this inherent difference in emotions means that even if demons do want peace, it will only result in human death and suffering. The bottom line is that every interaction with demons is negative, whether or not they are hostile or peaceful, and they should be avoided or dealt with at all costs. So now that we got the whole demons and Frierens are minorities discourse out of the way, surely there has to be some other Frieren discourse aside from calling Frieren fans racists and fascists, especially with Season 2 in full swing. The good news, there is other discourse. The bad news is that this discourse is probably just as dumb as the demons are minorities one, if not more so. So it starts off when this person posts about how Frieren could be better if Himmel was a more flawed/grey character. Basically, this dude is just upset that Frieren has the audacity to make a hero character actually be a good person and not just be a secret piece of shit. Because, oh yeah, that's so innovative and creative, man. What if, like good guy, wasn't always like good guy? Crazy concept that's definitely never been done before, man. You're clearly the first to think of it. Why couldn't anyone else come up with this idea? Your heckin' media literacy is through the roof! You're just obsessed with the concept of what if the pure virtuous thing isn't actually pure and virtuous. And Himmel has made mistakes. A major one being when he let that girl demon live, who eventually ended up killing a village chief and ended up holding that chief's daughter hostage. I know you disagree on that example, but he did it because he legitimately thought that the demons could change and be better. AKA, he was extremely naive, which can be considered an actual negative trait. Despite this, Himmel still strives to be the best and put his best foot forwards. I actually appreciate Frieren playing it straight with the good guy trope. as the good guy who's actually a terrible person trope is a bit overdone at this point. I actually appreciate Frieren playing it straight, as the good guy who's actually a terrible person trope is a bit overdone. But to make a long story short, they were not happy with people disagreeing with their media literate take of replacing one generic trope with another generic trope. And so they decided to pull the Twitter/X classic of writing a massive cope thread. Yeah man, just keep posting through it. You're doing great. Did you know that you were actually one more unhinged paragraph away from convincing everyone that you were right? Why don't you post some more? Fun fact, when I went to screenshot this entire thread, I couldn't even get the whole thing even after zooming out to the max. This is the best I got. Some gems to this absolute essay, Bruta, was him saying that he activated the Palantir chip of rightoids. Dude, just say Jews at this point. You guys no longer make the Jewish Zionist distinction anymore. Also, none of these people are crying about the fall of Western civilization. They're flaming you for being a retarded communist, which you are. A worldview of you need to have good people be flawed for no other reason than just because sucks. The other thing of note in that long-ass thread is that some of the issues he has with Frieren is their treatment of demons. So nice to know that the demon discourse is inescapable. It's also very interesting that he doesn't like the morality of Frieren, especially considering some of the real-world groups he likes and supports, such as Hamas, the terrorist organization, and North Korea, one of the most oppressive authoritative dictatorships. Hamas is mainly known now for the October 7th attacks where they violently attacked and killed many innocent civilians, with some of them being raped, tortured, and brutally killed. They also have a very long history of attacking Israel with rocket bombardments mainly, ever since they came to power in Palestinian territories in 2006. And while there have been periods of ceasefire between them and Israel, it has very obviously not worked out. Now I know Benjamin Netanyahu and the IDF are monsters and should be held accountable for their crimes, but we don't need to support the murderous rapist terrorists in order to do so. As for North Korea, they tightly monitor and suppress their citizens, prohibiting contact with the outside world, especially South Korea, with minor criticisms of the North Korean government being a jailable offense. Speaking of jails, they force people they arbitrarily jail into intensive prison labor for various projects, and enforce this prison work with physical coercion. Of course, there was also the food shortage incident in Korea, where most of the remaining food got delivered to the elites and the military, leaving everyone else to fend for themselves in a blatant act of selfishness. Of course, you can't forget about North Korea's death penalties, where they execute you for the crimes of attempting to leave the country, accessing foreign media, and criticizing the government. Wow, I can't imagine why not many people like North Korea. You know you got a great country when you actively try and kill everyone who leaves. And before anyone accuses me of falling for CIA propaganda for North Korea, these North Korean crimes were discovered by the UN. So unless you want to pull an Alex Jones and tell me that the 193 countries in the UN are CIA propaganda, I'd suggest you actually do some basic research on the groups you're defending. I found out about the Hamas and North Korean crimes in 10 to 15 minutes of Googling. Those Hamas and North Korea posts do bring his "Himmel would be better if he was morally gray" post into question though. As with those two posts in mind, do you think his idea of Himmel being more interesting / morally gray was if Himmel was raping and killing innocent civilians and committing terrorist attacks? Or if Himmel ran an authoritative dictatorship where he ruled over the peasants with an iron fist, with arbitrary arrests and forced prison labor under brutal conditions? Really makes you think. If you thought that was the end of it though, you'd be wrong. He just keeps doubling down. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he has a humiliation kink. While he's getting busted up online, he's busting nuts in real life. All of his Frieren arguments can basically be summed up as,
arrogance and stupidity all in the same package. How efficient of you.
But yeah, his attempts to defend himself are completely pathetic. His first defense was to talk about how people defending Frieren promote content by people called Lolly Hitler Rapist 88. Okay, so we're just grasping at straws here when you imply that everyone who thinks that your take of replace generic trope with other generic trope is retarded supports Lolly Hitler Rapist 88. Absolute shower thought strawman argument. This the best you got after arguing with your shampoo bottles? Wait, no, that actually implies that you shower. 0 out of 10. Use more buzzwords next time. But I mean, hey, if your take is so retarded that the imaginary people who retweet Lolly Hitler Rapist 88 can look good, maybe you should take that as a sign of how dogshit your argument is if these people can dunk on you easily. Kind of a self-own on your part. Something broken clocks are right twice a day. But it ultimately doesn't matter because it turns out that this dude was just lying through the skin of his teeth.
Do you think black people... What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
The very next day, he posts about how there's Nazis in the Frieren fandom that use Nazi dog whistles. So now we finally get to see these fabled lolly Hitler rapists 88s and the people who retweet them, right? Well, no. After looking through the screenshots, feel free and pause to look through them yourself. I couldn't help but notice a distinct lack of people who have any mention of lolly Hitler rapist 88 in their usernames. Or who have retweeted lolly Hitler rapist 88 or whatever.
Do you think black people... What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
Whoa, that's crazy, man. The guy who goes to bat for rapist terrorist groups and authoritative dictatorships is dishonest. Must be another day that ends in Y. The claim that these people are using Nazi dog whistles is also an outright lie, as when you look at the screenshots again, they're all just basically saying how they appreciate that Frieren doesn't try and do the morally gray trope and how they're sick of it. I guess if you're sick of the morally gray character trope, you're a Nazi now. Everyone I don't like is Hitler, by the way. Can't even be sick of a generic trope without the Nazi dog whistle accusations.
You're retarded. You have AIDS.
As I've stated earlier, this dude is a glutton for punishment, so he also posts this where he makes fun of the concept of a hero not doing good deeds for monetary gain, as well as mocking the show's slow pacing, which I know for a fact because he got into an argument with someone over this, which he doesn't even deny. And then posts a clip trying to prove his point but ultimately shoots himself in the foot. As it shows Stark not understanding why Frieren helps people without reward, so he asks. And then Frieren answers in such a way that causes Stark to remember his own personal experience protecting his town. So the flashback makes sense in this instance. The flashbacks make sense since Stark asked Frieren the same question that she asked Himmel, which was why she helped people without a reward. She answered in the same way that Himmel did, which is to protect more people, and this causes Stark to remember him protecting his own village. Everything checks out. You don't even elaborate on why this is supposed to be a bad thing. It was also revealed from that very same clip that this dude is a dirty 2x show speed watcher. Dude, how cooked is your brain that you gotta watch anime in 2x speed? Actually dog subhuman behavior. Hey man, would Frieren be better for you if there were Subway Surfers or Family Guy clips playing at the bottom of the screen? Or you're more of a soap cutting video guy? Maybe some jangling keys? But all of the Frieren hate from this dude makes so much more sense now. It's just some dude ass mad that Frieren is a slower paced show and isn't aura and hype moments 24/7, even though Frieren still has its fair share of action scenes. He of course claims that he doesn't watch anime in 2x speed, but considering how he's a known bad faith liar, that's cap. But even if he wasn't lying, yeah, the show's pretty slow. Everyone knows this. Why are you trying to make your tweet for people who can't watch a 1 to 2 minute clip, when most of the people who watch Frieren have no issues engaging with that kind of clip from the show? If you don't like a slower paced show, it's one thing, but IDK why you're still watching Frieren when it's obvious that it's not working out for you, let alone trying to be inflammatory about it for Twitter/X engagement. At least get a blue check if you're gonna be this inflammatory. And it's not just me noticing this. Other people have also picked up on the fact that when they give him actual criticisms of his Frieren takes, he will refuse to engage with them, instead opting to get down and dirty in the mud and shit-flaying with everyone else calling him names. Because as this person says, he refuses to engage with people who actually debunk his statements, but will argue with low-hanging fruit over a fight that he started. It's pretty obvious that this dude's issues with Frieren is that A, it does generic trope X instead of generic trope Y. And B, the slow pacing of the show. Yeah, so basically when Frieren Discourse isn't calling people Nazis and racists over the demons and at worst, an extremely small minority of people who watch the show, it's people who are upset that Frieren is a slower paced show and don't understand that replacing generic trope with another generic trope isn't any better, or who ultimately just have an issue with slower paced shows. If you don't like slower paced shows, that's one thing, but it's another to whine about how you have an issue with the pacing and not actually explain why it's bad. There's nothing inherently wrong with slower paced shows. As a matter of fact, I like a fair bit of them myself, and based on the popularity of Frieren, I can tell that I'm not alone in this stance. Something tells me that this is only the beginning though. and that Frieren is going to be subject to a lot more discourse in the future. Here's to another 100 years of people aggressively posturing that Frieren is a slower paced show, or culture war stuff about how demons are black people or something.
Let's play.